gallon by Christmas. Wow, with the money we save.
Are you satisfied? Happy? Miserable? Are you looking for love in all the wrong places? It's time for the Michelle Hughes Show. Tune in daily and join our controversial topics as we talk about singles, sex, and men and women's issues. And now, the queen of relationships on the Michelle Hughes Show. Always keeping it real. Your host, Michelle Hughes.
Well, welcome to the show. We are so happy that you have returned to Single, Sex, and Satisfied. And that's what the topic is all about. When you come to our show, it's talking about singles and how to live a better single lifestyle. Many times we are just existing and we're not living a true single life that's fulfilling. Now, some of you are saying, yo, that's not me. Oh, yes, I do. I live a very fulfilling single lifestyle. I was thinking just today, some of us don't share a bedroom with someone. But, you know, do you ever think about how great it is sometimes when you get up in the morning and there's no one next to you in the bedroom, but just you in your bed? I mean, that's a pleasure, because when you get married, you're going to share that bed with someone else. And not saying that that's a bad thing, but I'm just saying these are the things that we take for granted that you enjoy. That's a good thing. I mean, I look forward to sharing my life with another individual. But right now, I enjoy the freedom of, you know, doing what I want, when I want, don't have to answer to anyone but God. And so these are the times, single people, that you should truly enjoy being single. And that's why we are bringing this show. I believe that singles are overlooked because, you know, people always talk about married people, and married people always think they have so much more than you. A lot of times they do. They have a husband, they have children, grandkids, and many of us who may not have, you might be single, some of you have children because you're divorced. But if that's not you, if you've been single like myself all my life, no children, never been pregnant, and so therefore I haven't had that pleasure of having children to say I know what that's like. But of course, I've taken care of a lot of other people's children. And it was a joy taking care of my two nephews when my sisters went to work. I took care of their babies. And so I understand what it is to bring a baby home, but I also know how it feels to, when they come home, to give them back their kid. That was also a joy. Yes, it was. All right. Yes, it was. It was a joy to get those babies back to them, even though I loved them dearly, but that wasn't my baby. And so therefore it was nice to say, okay, you can have your baby back. But today we have a really good show. I believe it's going to help someone to understand the 10 rules of singleness. And we're going to finish off the last 5 that we didn't do yesterday. We're going to do 6, 7, 8, 9, and 10 that we're going to share with you today. Just to help you understand some of the things that you might be going through and you think, oh, I'm out here all by myself. There's no other single person who understands my plight in life. Well, you know, people do understand what you're going through. I wrote a book. It's called The Secret's Out, Living the Pain of Conditional Love. And the foreword is by Dolores Mom Winans. And when I wrote this book, it was truly about my cousin who had been killed by her husband. And we didn't find out for, I would say, about 9 years that he was the one who did it. I mean, he came over to our home. My cousin was the only child, and so he came over to the home and planned a funeral with myself, my mother. And you would have never thought he did something as tragic as he did to her. I mean, he really didn't want her to leave him. That weekend, she was planning to go back to Georgia. Not her parents, but her mother was from Georgia. That was my mother's brother's child. And she asked me to come and get her and take her over to her mom's house because she was going to leave. She was leaving her husband. So my brother and I, we went over to the home and helped her to get some of her things out the house for her and her baby. She had a child previously. It wasn't his child. And so I took her over to her mother's house, and she's supposed to go to church with me that Sunday. When I got home from work, my daddy, he met me at the door to let me know that Antoinette had died. And I'm like, Dad? Dad? I'm thinking, oh my God, how could this have happened? And it was just, it changed my whole life. I'm not going to sit here and act like it didn't. I never experienced something so terrible in my life. And she was like my sister. I mean, I was 2 weeks older than her. But of course, she was always, more mature, I think, at that time than I was. And so she always acted the oldest. And even though I was only like 2 weeks older than her. But we shared so much together. And to have someone taken out of your life. And, death is different when you die from an illness or a sickness than when you are taken. Someone kills you. It's not the same. And I think that's what bothered me for so many years it wasn't the fact that she died. It was how she died. And her name was Antoinette. And I still miss her. I mean, I still thought we would grow old together. And I didn't get the opportunity because she was 24 years old when she left this earth. And she had just gotten saved. We were at Word of Faith at that time. And matter of fact, Pastor Butler did the funeral. And I just say that it is so important, people. I can't stress it any more than I will try to do on each broadcast that I'm talking to you singles. It's so important, the person that you attach yourself to, because that person can either make you or they can break you. And we are so quick to jump into relationships. And even these live-in relationships, sometimes we don't even know the people, and we just allow them to come into our homes. And then you find out later this person, basically you didn't have anything in common. Maybe sexually you had something in common with the person. But other than that, you really didn't have a lot of things in common. And so that's why I really stress this, because I know how I felt after my cousin's death, and having to wait 9 years to figure out who did this, and I never stopped praying. I left that funeral, and I'm sure other people they didn't have the relationship that I had with my cousin. And so I just never let up on God. And I said, someone is going to pay for her death, whoever did this to her. And I never forget, one day I was talking to her daughter's aunt on the phone, and she just told me, just like nonchalantly, I'm not going to say his name, but he was found guilty of his second wife's death. I'm like, you got to be kidding. And so I immediately, because I used to work at the court down at Frank Murphy Hall of Justice, I immediately called down to find out, could he be charged for my cousin's death, since he did the same thing that he did to this young lady, the same thing. And you won't believe this, her aunt knew this lady's niece. Her mother went to a family reunion, and he was there, and that's how she found out that he had married into this family. And so I tell you, life is strange. And they said that once he saw my cousin's aunt, he never was the same. And they say he went through a lot of changes after he saw my cousin's mother. And so I'm saying this, that it's very important, the person that you marry, that you have some history on that person. Because if not, you're going to find yourself really not understanding why. Why did this happen? And I kept questioning myself, why did this happen to my cousin? And then when it came out that he killed his second wife the same way he killed my cousin, and anyway, he's in prison now with life without parole. But I had to forgive him for what he did so that I can release that burden off of me, what he did to my cousin. I mean, he repeatedly just stabbed those young women, and each one was about to leave him. So he had to think about rejection, someone leaving him. He had to think about that. And so when you're with a person, when you're dating someone, as I said yesterday, you need to find out what this person is truly about. And I believe you don't know who you're marrying until you spend some time with them. And so people have married people in 3 months, 4 months. I think you should wait at least a year, especially when you don't know anything about the person. You're just meeting, and maybe he lives in a different city or what have you. You don't even live in the same city. So I just think that I don't think you could ever be too safe in finding out if the person that you are hooking yourself up with, if this is the person they truly say they are. Because people talk a good game, but at the end of the day, they have totally different concepts about love. Everybody have a different understanding about what love is. And in my book, The Secret's Out, I wrote in it what defines love and what is love. And I wrote this. It says here, really, I didn't write it. It's really come from the Touchpoint Bible, but I put it in here. And it says a healthy definition of love is crucial to understanding the central message of the Bible. According to the Bible, love is not confined to sexuality, nor is it primarily a feeling at all. The Bible says that love is a commitment. As a commitment, love is not dependent on good feelings, but rather on a consistent and courageous decision to extend oneself for the well-being of another. That commitment then produces good feelings, not the other way around. Jesus became the perfect demonstration of God's unconditional love for us by laying down his life for our benefit. And so I think that when you find yourself understanding what Christianity is all about, Christianity is not about religion. Christianity is that definition is explaining. It's what he did when he went to Calvary's cross to give his life for us, for our sins. He never sinned. He was sinless. But he did it in the benefit of us being able to have a relationship with him. And that's how we commune. The more time you spend with him, the closer you get to him. And the lesser time you get not knowing his word, don't know what he's saying, you learn who he is through reading the Bible. And so a lot of times we're marrying people who don't even have the same understanding about your God. And so how can you relate if you are on two wavelengths? If he's on a different understanding about what Christ means to you, and he thinks it doesn't mean anything to worship God, he believes in God, but he doesn't believe in Jesus Christ. So you need to find out exactly, to me, where their spiritual understanding is. Because if you're marrying a person who doesn't have no type of relationship with God, or don't understand why God sent his only begotten son to the world, then you are really subjecting yourself to a relationship that, to me, is doomed for failure. It's even the same, we go to church together, and everybody's in there thinking totally differently. So how are you going to take that chance not knowing at all what this person's spiritual values are? And so single people, this is the time while we are, frustrating ourselves. Why my Boaz hasn't come? Why can't I find, where's my Ruth? Well, maybe they haven't come because you need to work on yourself more. And I believe the more time you work on yourself, it's just going to give you time to get you together and freedom to live this life, live the abundant life that God has promised us. And you can't do it when all you're thinking about is, when I'm going to get the next man, or when I'm going to get with that woman. I mean, that's all good. I am not trying to belittle that, because I think that is so important. It's so nice to be in a good relationship with someone who loves you. And, you're going to have your trials and tribulations, but if it's somebody who has a good concept concerning themselves, they know who they are, they're not going to mistreat you. And if they say they love Jesus with all their heart, mind, and soul, they got to answer to God. So that's why we put ourselves in jeopardy when we just go out there and just meet somebody out there clubbing it up. And then you're trying to figure out, well, when you get married, he's still clubbing it up. Well, he's clubbing it up because it's not how you met him. You met him in the club, and that's where he's going to stay. And sometimes the female's the same way. So we have to begin to figure out, what is it that we're looking for in that mate? And you can't do it just by your own concept or how you were raised. I believe the best concept is knowing the Word of God. And when God gives you the Word, then you will be able to understand a lot better what you're looking for. Well, I'm going to go to a commercial break, and we'll be right back to finish this conversation.
Don't go anywhere. We'll be right back as we deal with more heart-to-heart issues. This is the Queen of Relationships on the Michelle Hughes Show, where we keep it real. Stay with us on the Michelle Hughes Show. It's the Michelle Hughes Show. We keep it real. We talk about singles, sex, men and women issues. Come join the conversation on the Michelle Hughes Show. Are you satisfied, happy, or miserable?
Are you looking for love in all the wrong places?
Well, tune in daily and join our controversial topic. She is the Queen of Relationships on the Michelle Hughes Show. She keeps it real. Don't miss a show with Michelle Hughes.
All right. Tell a friend that the Michelle Hughes Show is on at 2 o'clock every day, Eastern Time. And we want you to tell all your single friends to come in and hear this message that we believe is going to help them have an even better lifestyle as a single person. Well, I'm reading again from my book, and those who have my book is on page 80, and we're talking about take notice to the following questions, because these questions are like a premarital inventory checklist. So these are some questions that you can ponder over and begin to ask yourself, maybe Michelle has some good information here that's going to help me ask some questions, to yourself before you just run out there. Or maybe you're already in a relationship and it's going to help you begin to search within yourself. Maybe I should, jot down these questions so I can ask my friend what they think about this. Just have maybe after dinner or something like that, you can just sit down and ponder over some of these questions. Well, the first one is, how is your love walk in relating to others? Yes. How do they deal with their family members? What about their friends? How do they interact with their friends? 2 is, what do you look for in building a strong relationship with a person? Everybody's not in it for the long haul. And we just stay in relationships year in and year out. People stay in, I think if you stay in a relationship longer than, 5 years, I don't think it take no 5 years. I say I wouldn't give it no more than 2. If you're still in there 2 years and somebody's still not wanting to commit, let the person go. I think it's not fair. I had men wanting to marry me, but I didn't continue those relationships. I let those men go because I believe if you know in your heart you are not ready to commit to someone, why are you wasting your time and his time? And I'm gonna tell you, a big fear of mine, and I don't know if it was a fear as much as an apprehension. I always thought, well, if I marry this person, what happens if Jeff comes along and he looking good and I might want him? I'm just being truthful with you all. You especially when you're in your 20s and you're marrying early, and that's why marriage is not for everybody, especially when you're young. Yeah, you got to get some of that stuff out of you. And some of us, we jump in there, we get married, and then we out here in adulterous affairs. So at least I'm truthful. At least I thought about it before. I'm like, I don't know if I could commit to these men. Because if I commit and then things don't go the way I think they should, or I'm looking across the table, I'm like, oh, yeah, good looking guy over there. Wow, but I'm married. It shouldn't be like that. So I'm happy that I'm older. I'll be older getting married. So I've gotten all that stuff out of me, okay? Anyway, number 3 is your intended mate a truthful person or a liar? Oh, man. And the Bible said liars won't enter the kingdom of God. I really try to help myself from, running a life of lying, or, you got to correct yourself. I mean, is it worth it in the end? And what are you lying about? So that's what I'm saying, people. We marrying people. Some people, as soon as they talk, they lie. Every word come out their mouth is nothing but lies. And, but you engrossed with that. And some of us know they lying and we still staying with them. I mean, what's the interest in that? You don't know, if you can believe that person when everything coming out their mouth is nothing but more made up stories. Okay. 4 is this person fitting of you developing a wholesome relationship? Gotta look at the whole picture. Is this person capable of you really truly having a wholesome relationship with them? Are they going to be pitfalls? Sure, it's always going to be things you're going to have to work on, because as I said yesterday, no two people are the same. But when you begin to develop that relationship, does that person have the chemistry to keep your relationship with your personality and his personality going? That's what basically that question is saying. Number 5 is you must be honest with yourself concerning should you really marry this person. I mean, you got to ask those questions. Don't ever not ask that question. It's better for you to ask it while you're single than to get into the marriage and realize, oh, I got to dump this guy. I mean, he's doing nothing right. Or, oh my God, everything he does is just out the box. So why put yourself in that position when you can now begin to say what you desire? And yeah, you got to pray, because you don't know everything. You don't know everything about yourself. I mean, I still pray. I mean, I'm getting older, but it doesn't mean I know everything about everything. No, you got to go to God and ask God. Seek God. Pray to him. And let him give you a peace if this is the person you should be with. And don't let the outward exterior, or maybe they might have things that you want. I mean, let greed get you in a relationship that money is not going to fix the personality. I mean, they can have all the money in the world, but if that personality's jacked up, you're going to be in a jacked up relationship. That's all I'm going to say on that question. Okay, number 6 is, do they have a relationship with God? Now, if we're too afraid to ask that person, do they have a relationship with God? It's obvious they don't have a relationship with God. But there's a lot of people go to church and don't have a relationship with God. I remember a preacher said, he had been preaching for, a number of years, and he was just giving his life to the Lord. So you don't know what people are doing. You don't know. That's why you got to spend time with the person. You don't know by the conversation the things that they will want you to do. That's the reason why you're giving it some time. Okay? Number 7 is, do they read the Bible consistently? Well, how are you going to grow therein to know what God's saying if you don't even study the Word of God? Number 8 is, are they an active member of a local church? Where do they fellowship? Are they even in church? Have they ever been in church? Do they have a pastor? If you're a Christian, now right now I'm talking to Christians, okay? And those who want to be a Christian. Some of y'all need to be a Christian. Maybe after the show, you'll give your life to the Lord and you'll become a Christian. But you got to find out where they fellowship if you date them. And if you're dating them and then you find out they don't have a church, then I remember one guy came to a church where I used to fellowship. He said, listen, you women, y'all out here talking about y'all want a man. Go out there and get him saved. Well, some of y'all, if you want a man and you want men, if you want a woman, go get him saved and then bring them back in before you marry him. But get him saved first, okay? And then spend some time with them to see if they're going to stay saved. Okay, number 9 is, how do they handle their finances? Now, see, everybody's not good with finances. I mean, my mother and my parents, they were very good when it came to money. They didn't really spend. I ain't going to say I'm that great with finances. I've gotten better because I like spending some money. Yes, I do. I love shopping, and I'm not going to sit here and say if I had $1 million, probably $1 million of it would be spending something somewhere. I enjoy it. Yes, I do. But you have to also take care of home. Why spend your money up and then you come home, your furniture is outside? I mean, that's not wisdom. So you have to use wisdom in everything. Okay, number 10 is, do they tithe and give donations? If they're not a tither, don't give no donations or whatever. I wonder how much they're going to give to you. Because if they can't give to God, you better question that. Okay? Now, I hope that helped you all a little bit to understand that when you're in a relationship, you got to have some consistency in who you're marrying. You got to ask yourself some questions. And if you don't ask yourself some questions, I mean, you can ask yourself more questions. I just gave you those 10, but you can ask yourself more questions, because the more questions you ask yourself, you're going to begin to ask them. And then it's nothing wrong with being inquisitive in a relationship. If a person is looking at you like, why are you asking me all these questions? You ask these questions because I'm getting to know you. And right now, I don't know everything about you. So it's going to take time for me to understand whether or not me and you should be together. And the only way I'm going to know is by spending time with you and asking you questions that concern me. And everybody's questions might be different. I just threw those out. Well, we're going to continue talking about the 10 rules of singleness. And I believe that we all should have some rules and some things that we live by. Because if not, you're going to fall for everything. Everything that you would imagine. You're going to end up just settling, not questioning certain things. You just allowing yourself to be taken. And that's what you don't want. You don't want yourself to be taken by someone who you should have never even looked at. That's number 1. Well, number 6 is from yesterday. Let me go over the 5, those who are just tuning in and you maybe didn't tune into the show yesterday. Yesterday, I'm going to go over real quick the 10 rules of singleness, and we're going to start at number 6 today, but right now I'm going to give you the first 5. The first one was learn to have a personal relationship with God. 2 was learn to be your own best friend. 3 is learn your weaknesses. 4, learn your strengths. 5, learn how to love others unconditionally. And number 6 is learn how to deal with your pain. As I was discussing earlier, my biggest pain was the death of my cousin and dealing with how she died. And, we thought, I thought she had, when she called me up and told me she had gotten married, she eloped when got married, didn't tell nobody. And that's the first thing. Watch people who want you to run and get married real quick. Sometimes they're hiding something. So women, when men want you to get married quickly, especially them first 3 months, remember this. If you don't remember nothing else I've told you today, they're hiding something. And then when you do that, you better make sure you know a whole lot about that person. Now, some of you all get married quick because you already been with the person. Some people have lived with people for many years, and now you went ahead and got married. I'm not talking about those situations. I'm talking about you just met the person, you don't know anything about them, and now they want you to jump up and get married. And that's what my cousin did. She really didn't know him. She didn't know a lot about him. She had met him at school. She had started going to Wayne State, and she met him there, and she liked him, and they liked each other, and they got married. And so in that, and the way she died, it caused me a lot of pain. I remember when it first happened, I couldn't go back to work for 30 days because I was a typist at the time at Frank Murphy Hall of Justice. I was working in the criminal division, and I knew I was the one who typed up all the warrants that came in, so I knew I was going to get her case. And I just couldn't deal with it. I didn't want to see anything I didn't want to know anything at that point. What happened, what he did to her. How I found out was a friend of the family, he worked in homicide. And I asked him, exactly what happened to her. Probably many of my family members didn't know what happened to her, But he told me what happened. I asked him, and he told me that she was stabbed multiple times all over her body. And so, no, that's not a way a person who say they love you should want to end your life. And then to do the second wife the same way he did the first wife. And all because these women decided they wanted to leave him. And he couldn't deal with rejection. And so that's why I'm saying, people, I'm stressing this. Get to know the person that you think you are in love with. If you all will keep sex out the picture, I think you will find out the emotions wouldn't be so, you won't be so emotional about who he is. Because sex should be done in the confines of marriage, because that's like consummating the marriage. That's what the Bible says. That's what you're doing. But when you do it ahead of time, now you're getting all those emotionals going that really there's no commitment, because there's no ring on your finger. So they can go their way, you can go your way, but all you got is basically a sexual relationship that you had with a person that you really didn't know well. So I'm just saying, if we can hold out on the sex part, I believe relationships, we will find, I believe, better relationships. And I know that's a hard pill to swallow. And I ask myself that daily, Lord, when you send that man, send me a righteous man. A man who really understands reason why we're not having sex. It's not because we don't want to be together. It's not because we don't want to be intimate. That's the first thing, as I said yesterday, you want to do. Is be sexual with that person you love. You want to share that. You want to show them how much you love them. But if we could just keep that to a minimum of doing nothing in that area and learn as much as we can about the individual, I believe we'll have better marriages, because our foundation is solid. Because you're not confusing it with all that emotional sexual drive that takes us to another level, and it takes you someplace that you shouldn't go that soon. It's too soon to get all emotional, all hyped up about this individual, and then next thing you know, you in love. And men, they different. They wired different from us. They can have sex and they don't have that same attachment as women have. And some women are like men. They don't have the same attachment either. But if you know you wired that way, that's the first thing you need to be letting go until you get to know that individual. Okay. As I said, number 6 was learn how to deal with your pain. And pain is pain from I hate to call it bad situation, because I believe every relationship that you've had in the past is a learning experience. Something that you had to learn because you found yourself involved with that person. So if you take from it, not just the pain, but what did you learn from it? Did you go back and see some of the areas you could have changed, but that you should not have ever gotten into? Maybe you should say, this time I won't ever date someone who maybe has a temper, or I will look into how they deal with, certain situations. I know that that's a pet peeve of mine. So I'll make sure that they don't have that habit, because if they have that habit, I know it's going to be down the drain, because that's something I just cannot live with. You got to find out the things that you know that you can't live with. And if you know there are things you can't live with, well, how are you dealing with those areas? If you deal with it in a more solid way, where you're not getting all caught up in the moment, but getting caught up in who that person is and what they're bringing to the table, you'll find yourself evaluating that person on a different level. You'll communicate better. I just believe you'll have better conversations. I know, thinking back on when I was going to marry the gentleman, as I said yesterday, who was the engineer, I had to understand that he came at a time when I was just getting over my cousin's death. I think it was a year prior to him coming. And, when he asked me to marry him, of course I had apprehension. I didn't know who at that time had killed my cousin. It was just terrible. And sure, I love this guy, but I still had those apprehensions about marriage. Not because I didn't see my parents in their marriage as long as they had lived. At that time, when my dad died, they had been married for close to 51 years. And so I've been around a lot of people in marriages, and no marriage is perfect. So if you're thinking that marriage is going to be perfect, forget it. No, it's not going to be perfect. But what I'm saying is that I had to deal with some intricate things that I was dealing with on the inside. And I should have gotten counseling. I should have went and talked to someone about the issues that I was having about my cousin's death. And I'm talking to somebody today. Don't bear that by yourself. If it's some areas of your life that you need help in, if you go to your pastor, if they're capable of counseling you, you need to go and talk to them. If you feel that they can help you, if they deal with counseling, you need to go to someone or somebody who you feel you can talk to, who can help you work through some of those issues. And I remember a guy from my mother's job, I was selling aloe vera at that time with him, and he convinced me, your cousin would want you to give up on life. She would want you to continue to live, and he talked to me. But I needed more than that. I'm being truthful. I needed more than that. But I did go back to work after 30 days being off my job. I did go back, and I just felt like, oh my God, I just can't believe this has happened, and why to her when she had just given her life to the Lord. But some people, I believe they have to go early because maybe in the end, maybe they would, stray away. So I can't sit here and say, oh, why, except for, unfortunately, she married an idiot. So I'm going to go on to the next question. The next one, 7, is learn how to deal with unresolved issues. We go day to day and trying to act like we got it all together. As soon as somebody come in the room, you mad with them. That's an unresolved issue. Or as soon as a person opens their mouth, you attacking them. That's an unresolved issue. Why do you have venom against certain people? You got to ask yourself, when you find yourself like getting mad with someone or attacking someone, there's not that person. Because that person has no clue why you are attacking them. But you need to deal with the issue inside of you, why you are attacking that person. They're husbands and wives. They attack each other like vicious people, like little vicious dogs. Haven't you seen dogs when they're in those dog fights when people have trained those dogs to be vicious and stuff? That's how two people act when they are mad with each other. And some people stay in those marriages for years and years and years and just draining each other dry because no one knows how to lift up. Somewhere you gotta lift up. Let that stuff go. Let it go. I live that. That's something that I live on. I don't carry a whole lot of burdens on me in that way. I like to be lighthearted. I like to be carefree. I can't stand to have all that inside of me. Or if I'm around somebody, they just irk me. Now there's some people irk you because they just irk you, and you shouldn't be around them. And so that's okay, because everybody you're not going to like. God didn't say you had to like everybody, but he did command us to love everybody. Okay. Yes, he did. That's a command. We got to love. Love your brother as thyself. In other words, if you learn to love yourself, you'll learn how to love other people in a better way. But most of us, we don't even love ourselves. I'm too fat. I'm too ugly. I'm too dark. I'm too light. I'm too white. I'm too this. I'm too that. I mean, the list goes on and on and on. The areas in our lives that we don't like about ourselves. And then we go and try to hook up with somebody else and think they're going to make you better. You're going to take all that mess that's inside of you, and you're going to take it right to another individual, and they're going to bring their mess, and now you got two people with a whole bunch of messes, and you're trying to live together. And how is that going to work out if no one is realizing that they need to deal with themselves? It's not the other individual. Have you been around people? It's always somebody else. It's always outside of them. It's never on the inside where I need to deal with me. It's always somebody else. It's never them. I want to read from Psalms, let me make sure, Psalms 86. We're going to read 6 through 12. And it says here, give ear, O Lord, unto my prayer, and attend to the voice of my supplications. In the day of my trouble, I will call upon thee, for thou wilt answer me. Among the gods there is none like unto thee. O Lord, neither are there any works like unto thy works. All the nations whom thou hast made shall come and worship before thee, O Lord, and shall glorify thy name. See, I think I read too far down. I did. Where did I tell y'all? 6 through 12? Yeah, I did. I read it right. Yeah, I guess I read it right, yeah. I came down a little bit too much, but that's okay. You get the gist of the scripture. It's just that we have to know that when you're in a time of trouble, God will hear you and answer you. He will give you the desires of your heart. No matter what you are going through, if you cry out to him, most of us are not crying out to him. We're crying out to other people. We want everybody else to heal our burdens, to heal what we've been through in our relationships. And you know, well, it was her mouth. She just talked too much, and she had a nasty way about herself. And he was just mean and hateful, and he was just ugly about everything he did. Well, and that might be true. Every statement that you might be making, it might be a true statement. But the problem is this: you got to check in with yourself. I keep saying that. Check in with you and ask God to heal you from the inside out. Father, you have to ask him, Lord, heal me. Heal all the relationships that I've been in previously. Heal where the people have scarred me, where I've been scarred, tried to give my best, and the person took advantage of me. Ask God to heal you. And I believe that's the only way that you will be able to find yourself in a better relationship with somebody else. But it's not going to come when all you're doing is holding on to all the scars that you felt someone did to you, or people never give back to me. I'm always giving to other people, but nobody gives back to me the way I've given to them. Well, let me say this to you. No one's going to give the way you give, because it's you. No one thinks the way you think, because it's you. You have to tell yourself that all the time. I think I'm a giver. I think I'm always giving. But no one's going to give in the same manner that maybe you will find yourself giving in. And I'm going to give myself a little, I think I'm going to give myself a little command from the I was trying to give myself a little cheering group here. But somehow it's not working right now, but that's okay. But I just believe that, when you begin to understand that no matter what you have gone through in life, there's always somebody who's going through. There it is. It came a little late, y'all. Sorry. My keys wasn't working. That's why I need an attendant, right? I need somebody to help me. But anyway, I'm doing it all right now, but not for long. But I'm saying that yeah, you have to begin to look at yourself and understand that no one's going to be like you. There's no two people who are identical. Even twins, you know, they have a lot in common, but God made everyone with a unique personality. We're all different. Every single one of us. There's nobody, you can come from the same womb and you could be in a room and each child will talk different, have a different way of looking at life, the way they analyze things. So you never look at an individual like they have to do what you say they must do. Because people only going to do what you see. And if we can ever get to that point, is accepting what you see. If you don't accept what you see, you're going to get what you're going to get from them what they're producing. And if you don't understand that, then you are basically, you have your eyes closed and you are envisioning something that is not true. Because people are who they are. Either you accept the whole package or you are just living in this world that's not real. And I believe sometimes we go into relationships thinking, oh, they're going to get better. Oh, he's going to change. Yeah, they do change. Sometimes they get worse. All right, let's go on to number 8 is learn how to deal with your resentments. We all have resentments about, maybe as a child, maybe you thought, well, they got more attention than me. Oh, yeah, they always did this, or they got this, or they, it's always resentments that we have in the back of our heads that if you keep, feeding on those resentments, you know what happens? They become a part of you. And I don't care who comes into your life, they're going to be a part of your resentments. Same thing with pain. Same thing with hurts. If you don't get rid of those things, it just becomes a part of who you are and a part of your personality. And that's why no matter where you go, you carry those resentments with you. And people pick them up immediately. Because as soon as you open up your mouth, you will find yourself, you'll attack people. Have you been around people, no matter what you say, they will attack you. Or they never see your point of view as being valid. Everything you say is challenged because they just don't like you. And because I don't like you, I'm going to challenge everything you say. Because you get on my nerve. I don't like you. And that's really what they're saying. I don't like you. Half the time, it's not because they don't like you as much as they don't like themselves. Because there's no reason why you have to go through life and just having animosity towards everybody who doesn't agree with you. Because in life, it's just how it is. Everybody's not going to agree with you. Then what? So, but you always going to have somebody who will understand what you're saying. And if you get an understanding, that's all that's required. Is that you get an understanding. They don't have to just, bow down to you and just say, yeah. Everything you say, yeah, yes to it. No one's going to do that. And if they are, then basically you're controlling them. Why would you want to be in a relationship that you want to control someone, the way they think, the way they walk, everything is being controlled by how you live, how you think, what you do. In those relationships, to me, it's like a sinking duck. And even the person, after a while, will find themselves feeling like they're crippled from just being ruled and dictated to day in and day out. Because that's what it is. It's almost like a dictator telling you how to think. Okay, go wash your teeth. Go brush your teeth. Okay, now you can go here. Now you can go there. That's how people who are controlling, that's how they really want you to live with them. In other words, you stop thinking and you just do everything I tell you to do. And those people, somewhere in their life, someone did something to them or how they were raised, and now they are determined that nobody else will have a break without them telling them what to do. And that's not a good life. That's not a good life. And number 9 is learn how to put your past behind you. If we can ever get to the point where we can just, forget about all those things that happened to you in your past. begin to live anew, a refreshing, let God refresh you from the top of your head to the soles of your feet. Let Him begin to just regenerate you into a new person where you just feel feel free. That's how life should be lived, free. And no matter how you live, you're still going to deal with problems and issues and challenges. They're going to come to you, but you don't have to let them just get you so constipated. Don't like you constipated. You constipated. You gotta go take something. Get unconstipated. Get unconstipated. That's not a good word, but you get my drift. In other words, get set free from all that baggage. I mean, it's just some people are just so bogged down until every time you look at them, they don't even look refreshed. I want to feel happy and just free to be able to love unconditionally. And I know that the person that God sends into my life, I believe they're going to have the same understanding in the sense of wanting to be free and not bogged down. Now, we're not going to think alike. We're not going to do things alike. But I do believe you can have that in common. Yes, you can. You can get with a person who's not all bogged down with his past, or maybe he's been married before. Let that part of you go. You may still have children and things like that. I believe you should take care of your children. I think you should befriend your children. You should have a life with your children, but you don't have to let your ex rule you. Because some exes, they just be ruling those men and women, and they still, it's almost like they still married, and that shouldn't take place. I think you should have a relationship with your ex. There are people who just they get divorced, and it's like, you gone, and all I got is my children. I don't know what took place in those marriages, but I think it's sad when you can't have a relationship with your children's, dad or mom. I think you should have at least a cordial relationship with them. Now, in my family, we kind of invite the exes. When they come, they bring their husbands, wives, We all become one big happy family. So, I mean, everybody's different, but that has happened in my family. My sister's ex-husband brought his wife, and now my brother's wife brings her husband to functions that we have. So, listen, they have children with those people. And so, if you had a relationship before, you don't just throw them to the curb. That's how I think. Now, I guess if you didn't have a relationship with those people in the beginning, or now, or before they divorce, I guess you're not going to continue to have a relationship with them. And the last one is number 10, is learn how to live the abundant life. Oh, if we ever can get to that place, living the abundant life that God has promised us, to live free, live with love in your spirit. And even though you may deal with circumstances on a daily basis, but you don't let them overcome you to a point of no return. Well, I guess I gave you a lot to swallow. I'm going to go to a commercial break.
Don't go anywhere. We'll be right back as we deal with more heart-to-heart issues. This is the Queen of Relationships on the Michelle Hughes Show, where we keep it real. Stay with us on the Michelle Hughes Show. It's the Michelle Hughes Show. We keep it real. We talk about singles, sex, men and women issues. Come join the conversation on the Michelle Hughes Show. Are you satisfied, happy, or miserable?
Are you looking for love in all the wrong places?
Well, tune in daily and join our controversial topics. She is the Queen of Relationships on the Michelle Hughes Show. She keeps it real. Don't miss a show with Michelle Hughes.
All right. Yes, you are listening to Michelle Hughes, and I'm here to help you singles understand how to live a better life with yourself. And I believe that when we begin to live a better life with ourselves, then we will have better relationships. And when we have better relationships, what's going to happen? You're going to find yourself being free to love other people. You see, love freely, love from your heart, love knowing that whether that person gives me anything back in return, I am choosing to love people unconditionally. And when we can get that concept in our hearts, in our minds, I believe we're going to have a better world with people who will begin to say, I want to live a free life. Well, I'm reading from my book on page 147, and it says here, in choosing a mate, a person should allow the Holy Spirit to lead and guide them to that right person. There is no way the mate chosen through the Holy Spirit will not last until death do us part. Relationships emerge out of many levels of thinking. Here are some examples. A is, she's cute or he's fine. B, they make good money. C, what a great body or shape. D, beautiful hair. Oh, I love that bald. E, he or she is an intellectual. F, they are educated. G, he or she is very spiritual. H, he or she goes to church. I, he or she is very affectionate. J, they have a wonderful voice or smile. K, what a sense of humor. L, he or she is very loving. M, great skin tones. N, perfect skin color. O, they are very mature. P, they have a lot of wisdom. Q, they love children. R, he or she is very family oriented. S, they are a hard worker. T, they are financially secure. U, they are very loyal. V, they have integrity. W, they are very understanding. X, they believe in being committed to a person. Y, they are truthful and not a liar. Z, they are very romantic. See, I said here, in finding the right partner, you would want to choose a person who will love you for who you are as an individual. You want to avoid attracting to your life the spirit of Judas. If you remember in the Bible, Judas betrayed Jesus. It is important that you stay away from people who have a need to belittle or put you down to make themselves feel great. You do not want to fall in love with a person who feels insecure with who they are as a person. If I don't leave anything else with you today in concluding the 10 rules of, what did I say? 10 rules of, what are we talking about today? 10 rules of singleness. If I don't leave anything else with you today, I'm going to leave this. And that is, being single is the best thing that could happen to you. Because this is a time that if you give yourself the opportunity, that you will begin to really get to know you and love yourself. And God can only teach you how to love that inward person on the inside of you. Our parents did a good job in raising us, but it takes God to really teach us who we are as individuals and who He has created us to become in this world. And that's why if you don't spend some quality time alone, away from all the noise that goes on each and every day of our lives, around your friends, your family members, you have to take out some quality time just to be with yourself and God. Because during that time, He's teaching you the things that you should be doing with yourself and how to make yourself a better person. And I'm stressing that because I think we innately go after people to make us who we are when we should be working on ourselves as individuals. And when we begin to work on that inward person, then it's less for that other person to have to make up for the deficit that we don't have within ourselves. And that's why we get mad, we get, just can't get along with people, because we are expecting too much from other people to give to us as a person. And I believe that you should be a giver. Each person should give to each other. But when you have to give them almost everything, because they need so much, they're so needy, just so desperate for everything that you have to give to them, then you're going to find yourself in a relationship that's going down the hill, that's not going anywhere. So attach yourself to people who understand what it is to be loved, and also to give back that love. Because if they don't know how to give back that love, I only can tell you, you're going to be in a relationship with a person who all they're going to do is keep beating you up, and always wanting. Well, listen, it's really been real. I want you all to come back tomorrow, because we have some more things to give to you on tomorrow. And remember, we keep it real.
Thanks for tuning in to the Michelle Hughes Show. Join us daily for more hot topics with the Queen of Relationships. Always keeping it real. See you tomorrow on the Michelle Hughes Show.